The AP will do it wrong, so we're here to do it right. Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert here with our Week 2 GE Top 25 rankings. If you've been a follower for the channel for a while, you know we're not a fan of the AP poll. We're not a fan of the playoff committee. We want to do things right. We want to do things our own way here at our channel, which is why every Monday, today Tuesday because of the long weekend with Week 1, every Monday we're going to bring you our official GE Top 25 rankings right here at the channel. And there's a lot to break down. We saw a lot of top 25 teams go down. We got some major shakeups in the top 10. And we've got a new number 1 team in the country, as I'm sure no one is surprised to see. Take a look at it. Ohio State is our new number 1 team in the country heading into Week 2. The Penn State was our preseason number 1 team. We had the Nittany Lions ranked first. I think a lot of us expected, the winner of Texas or Ohio State to be number 1. That was our logic, at least. If Texas had defeated Ohio State, we would have bumped them up. Ohio State ended up winning 14-7 over the Longhorns. So Ohio State, with right now probably the best win of any team in the country as of this point, gets the number 1 spot in our rankings. Penn State drops down 1 after their win over Nevada to number 2. LSU at number 3, up 5 spots after their big win on the road at Clemson. I was very high on Clemson this year. Did not look very good against the Tigers from Death Valley in Baton Rouge. LSU wins that battle for Death Valley. They raise up 5 spots, probably the second best win, in my opinion, of any team this last weekend. So the Tigers, don't sleep on it. They've got a pretty favorable schedule the rest of the way. One of the best quarterbacks in the country. That defense was unbelievable. LSU is the real deal in 2025. They come in at number 3, ahead of Georgia, who beat Marshall 45-7. Gunnar Stockton going to do great things for the Bulldogs this year. That could be the preview of the SEC Championship because LSU and Georgia do not meet in the regular season. Oregon in at number 5 following their big win over Montana State. There were questions at quarterback, questions about how they responded to losing so much from last year. I know it was just Montana State, but 59-13, they looked just fine, and they should cruise past Oklahoma State later this weekend as well. Miami is up 5 spots. We did not have them in our top 10 to start the year. Thought they should be right on the outside looking in. Well, they've earned that top 10 ranking now after beating Notre Dame in a thriller, 27-24. Hurricanes get that massive top 10 win that's kind of eluded them for so long. Mario Cristobal has this team really in a great spot. The schedule isn't horrible. They don't play Clemson in the regular season. After all the losses on offense last year, I thought the offense looked fine. Carson Beck's going to do great things. The receivers look good. The defense looks really good. Miami in at number 6, a true playoff contender in 2025. 7, 8, 9, Texas, Clemson, Notre Dame, all the teams that lost in those top 10 matchups from this last weekend. Now, some would argue that should be a little lower than that, but, here's the thing. I look at this, you kind of have to take a step back and go, wow, Texas looked horrible. Clemson looked horrible. Notre Dame didn't look good for about 3 quarters. They kind of came to life trying to come back, couldn't get it done. But all those teams lost to quality opponents. 2 of them, in Texas and Notre Dame, were starting brand new quarterbacks. So I'm trying to take that step back and not do my immediate reaction. These teams still, I think, deserve to be in the top 10. We dropped them Texas 5 spots. We dropped Clemson 5 spots. We dropped Notre Dame 4 spots. Texas losing on the road to Ohio State. Clemson at home against LSU. Notre Dame on the road to Miami. But all 3 of those games were decided by 1 possession for all of those teams. So while I don't deserve to be in the top 4, and while the margin for error is very slim for those 3 programs going forward, they got tough schedules. 1 more loss for the rest of the year could derail their playoff hopes. They still, in my eyes, deserve to be in the top 10, unlike a team in Alabama, who we'll talk about later on. But Texas, Clemson, Notre Dame, 7, 8, 9, rounding out our top 10, Arizona State, who stays put at number 10. I couldn't justify, even though they beat Northern Arizona 38-19, I can't justify moving the Sun Devils above Notre Dame, Clemson, Texas, even though they all started 0-1. So having said all of that, that is our top 10 as of right now. New number 1 team. Really, the top 4 are really interesting. Seeing LSU ranked that high isn't necessarily a shock, but it's something. A top 3 ranking is something they haven't seen in quite a while. So up there, number 3, Georgia, Oregon, 4, 5. Going to be really interesting to see how this pans out over the next couple of weeks, especially once we get further into conference play. Let's go ahead and jump into 11 through 20. You might be surprised to see a team not in there. It's Alabama. They're not even in our 11 through 20. Will they be ranked at the end? You'll have to wait to find out, but. Got Illinois moving up a spot. They've got a big game on the road at Duke in Week 2, but the Fighting Illini, big win over Western Illinois, as they should, 52-3. Not top 10 caliber, but they have a lot of experience and are going to be a force to be reckoned with all year long. So they're at number 11, up a spot. Iowa State, up a spot. Remember, at Week 0, we didn't do a ranking video, neither did the AP, rankings between Week 0 and Week 1. So Iowa State gets that big win over Kansas State and Ireland, and then they follow that up with a win over South Dakota, 55-7. And I know that was an FCS program, but that was a pretty dominant performance from the Cyclones from start to finish. Rocco Becht only throwing one incompletion in that game. So Iowa State, I thought was ranked too low by the AP to begin with. We ranked them at 17, which is higher than they had them. Now we have them all the way up to number 12. The big win over Kansas State, who clearly is not good. They should have lost North Dakota, but clearly not very good. And then the win over South Dakota. So Iowa State rising up pretty high into our top 15, into our top 12. Cyclones are the real deal in the Big 12, as we expected. And the Big 12 is going to be a lot of fun. Arizona State's in there. Iowa State's in there. Utah's in there. We'll talk about them soon. Michigan State's put at number 13. They've got a big game in Week 2. The biggest game of Week 2 will be Michigan at Oklahoma, and we'll have more analysis coming that way here in a couple days. But that's going to be the game to watch out for. Bryce Underwood did well in his debut against New Mexico. Can he do the same now in Norman against a strong Oklahoma defense? South Carolina up a spot with their win over Virginia Tech, beating them 24-11. Got a really slow start, didn't really pull away until they got that big 80-yard punt return, that big pass play later on. But South Carolina, shaking off the rust, going to be just fine, number 14. SMU up a spot with the win over Texas A&M, up 42-13. Texas A&M struggled early against UTSA, pulled away to win 42-24. They're up 2 spots. Louisville's up 2 spots with a win over Eastern Kentucky. Florida is up 3 spots with a win over Long Island, 55-0. Georgia Tech up 6, the biggest riser really outside of Iowa State in that 11-20 range. I really, really like this Georgia Tech team. Had them kind of barely in the top 25 to start the year, but a gutsy win on the road against Colorado. No, Colorado's not that good, don't get me wrong, but to win on the road, to overcome 3 turnovers early and the defense to get the stops. I mean, Colorado probably could have run away with that game if they'd been able to convert off those turnovers. Georgia Tech's defense did their job. Haynes King did his job. I really, really like this Yellow Jackets program. In a couple of weeks, they take on Clemson. Watch out. That could be an upset in the making. But I like the Yellow Jackets in my top 20, as well as Utah, who destroyed UCLA. I saw so many people saying UCLA was going to win this game, and Nico Iamaleava was going to make that big a difference, and Devin Dampier wasn't going to be that good for Utah because he wasn't that great at New Mexico. Guys, you just don't know ball, people that were saying that. Devin Dampier was phenomenal. Nico Iamaleava was trash. Utah wins that game 43-10. They go from the unranked for us. They're right on the outside looking in, all the way up to number 20. I really, really like this Utah team. And I looked through the rest of this, guys. You see some odd movements here. The reason teams like A&M, Louisville, Florida moved up 2 or 3 spots, we saw Kansas State lose to Iowa State and play poorly against North Dakota. They were in our top 15. We've dropped them quite a bit. We saw Alabama, obviously, they've dropped quite a bit. So just some movements because of the teams that have been added, some movements because of the teams that have lost ahead of them. You're going to see, even if they didn't have the most impressive victory, they're going to move up maybe more than 1 spot just because of that extra movement. And it's especially going to be the case now from this 21 to 25 range, probably the area that might get the most flack. You look at 21 through 25, Tennessee, Indiana, Texas Tech, Alabama, and then Oklahoma. And you look at that, you see a team like Indiana, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma all dropping a few spots. And again, that's because a team like Alabama was in the top 10, fell so much, and Kansas State dropped out, Boise State dropped out of our top 25. So you're going to see some teams that won in dominating fashion, maybe go down a spot, maybe don't move just because of the movements around them, or someone on the outside of the top 25 jumping into the top 25. That's bound to happen. So a lot to talk about here. Tennessee went from the unranked to 21st. I had them around the outside looking in. Wanted to see what they could do without Nico, who I didn't think was very good, but wanted to see what they could do without Nico. All this off-field drama. Wanted to see what this defense was capable of. They allowed Syracuse to get back in it, maybe score more than the Orange should have, but Tennessee does win 45-26 and put up a lot of yards of offense, and the Volunteers are going to be just fine. Got them in at number 21. Indiana drops a couple spots because they were at number 20 for us. I believe Utah and Tennessee deserve to be ranked above the Hoosiers, who only beat Old Dominion 27-14, but again, they're going to be just fine. Texas Tech destroyed UAPB by 60, as expected. They drop a spot, though. Alabama, maybe I'm being too harsh on the Crimson Tide, dropping them 15 spots. I had Alabama at number 9. I've got them at number 24. This team has talent, right? So I'm not going to drop them out of the top 25. This team has talent, but the culture is very bad at Alabama. The effort is very bad at Alabama. What we saw defensively was very bad at Alabama. So I'm not prepared to drop Alabama out of the top 25 yet. I'm not prepared to say that they're done for yet. Do I think they're a playoff team right now? Absolutely not. Do I think they'll make the playoff now? Absolutely not, because I look at the rest of their SEC schedule and don't see any way how they can run the table or just lose one more game the rest of the year, unless they make a massive culture change, and that's not going to happen now. But the Crimson Tide do stay in our top 25, giving them a tiny bit of grace after losing 31-17 at Florida State. They hang in there. Florida State's not in. Here's why. They weren't even on my radar. They weren't even in my top 35 coming in to the season, right? And we see the AP will rank them. The AP will probably rank Florida State in the top 15. We've seen it time and time again, and that's not how this works. You don't get to go from sitting at number 35, sitting at number 40, you get one win over a top 10 team, and you drop, and you rise up, 25 spots? That's not how that works, right? So Florida State right now, if you want to know, is 28th for me. Florida State is 28th for me. They will be in the top 25 soon if they keep winning. But I don't think one win over a top 10, top 15 team deserves you to go from fairly low in the rankings, not many votes, to a top 20 team. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's how it should work. So I'm not dogging on the Seminoles. They deserve to win that game. It was a phenomenal performance. They will crack the rankings. But they do not deserve to be ranked after one game right now. Bama falls a lot. Florida State right on the outside looking in. Oklahoma drops 2 spots, hangs in at number 25. They beat Illinois State 35-3. I'm a little lower on the Sooners maybe than the AP poll would be. This might be a top 15 matchup come Saturday. Oklahoma will rise significantly in our rankings if they do beat Michigan on Saturday. It's going to be a fantastic matchup. Really excited to see how it all pans out. John Mateer set a record, most passing yards by a Oklahoma quarterback in his first career start with the program. It was fantastic to watch, but going to be very telling to see if this team's really the real deal come Saturday. The Sooners in at 25, down 2 spots because of the Alabama movement, because of Georgia or Tennessee and Utah cracking the rankings. Auburn right on the outside looking in. If you really want to know our top 30 right now, our top 30 in order: Ole Miss at 26, still not going to put the Rebels in the top 25 yet. I'm sure we'll get a lot of flack for that. Auburn at 27, Florida State at 28, BYU at 29, and USC at 30. Those are the teams receiving votes here at the Gridiron Expert, right on the outside looking in. Kansas State and Boise State were the 2 teams that were ranked for us that have dropped out. So, please discuss. I'd love to hear people's thoughts and their comments and their disagreements or agreements. Who knows what it's going to be. But these are our rankings heading into week 2 of the college football season. Naturally, all of this is going to change. It's only been 1 week. We've only seen a couple of games. We haven't even gotten into conference play yet. So much going to change for all these teams. These rankings going to change drastically over the course of the season, which is why the early season rankings you don't really put much stock into. They're fun to do. We enjoy doing them. We're going to continue to do them all year long, but it's the ones later on that truly mean the most. But this is what we got right now, and of course they will be shaken up drastically by next Monday. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our expert picks, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. Do not miss out on those. Again, the link for it down in the description below, as well as our weekly newsletters also over on thegridironexpert.com. We'd love for you to sign up for those, get some extra analysis, becoming a member of our GE Nation. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.